like so far?
Don't get me started, bro. Oh, it's been a nightmare.
Has it?
Yeah, I want to talk about toilets. I think what we should do, and I was thinking about this today, we should create words that are a swear word, but we're not allowed to swear.
Oh, okay. Well, we can't on YouTube because we'll get
I know
banned.
that's what I mean. So if I say the fuck word, it'll be fricking or flip.
Yeah.
Are we
Or
allowed to say
fudge.
that? Yeah, fudge. That'll do. Fudge. I've had a right fudge of a day and week and life really. Let's talk. Let's talk about public toilets.
Why has it always happened to us? Because I think some people watching this, they're going to think they're just making this up. But no,
No, they're
because
not.
I mean, let's just set a little bit of context before you go off on one. Um, Obviously, me and Gary used to work together. We're both ex-police. Gary's the urban monk who we talk about. He's a speaker, author, and obviously I'm the body language expert from telly. Every Friday before I moved to Cornwall in the southwest of England, we used to meet up every Friday and just basically have a rant. And we thought there must be other people that think this way. So that's basically what we're doing. So over to you.
Well, yeah, as well as, and since you moved down to Cornwall, if I'm ever driving and something happens, then I'll ring you because I know
Yeah,
a rant's coming. And we bounce off each other, but it's more Rantsville or Rantsgate.
yeah.
Um, but it was like I went to a situation today and it made me think back. I'll give you a story, right? You go into a public toilet, wash your hands, do your business. I'm not going to go down that road.
But
There's no
we
spare
know what
word for
goes
that.
on.
No spare word for that. We know what goes on.
There's no convictions.
I've got my khaki shorts on. I wash my hands
You've got you
and I go
on.
to khaki
Oh,
shorts and I go to the hand wash my hands and I go to the dryer. Well, it don't fudging work because you've got to put your hand under a certain level. The blue light, I'm thinking I'm going to get cancer in my skin. So I'm putting in to get the blue light. It works. Then I reach in, start to rub my hands. It stops working. The wet hands drip all over my shorts. So it looks like I've,
had
what
a
can we say
problem.
for weed myself? I'd use the P word, but we can't on YouTube. So it looks like I've weed myself. So then what I do is I stick my hand down my trousers and I get underneath the air dryer. It's blowing
Is it the
and
one that
everything.
rotates round? What sort is it?
Well, it's both of them. You've got the rotating ones, which are old school, but you've got those that are direct now. So you've got to like limbo for those old enough to know what limboing is. You've got a limbo, put your hands in your trousers, pull your shorts up, and stand there looking a little bit obscene while the air dry blows onto your trousers and two big airy truckers come in.
What somebody actually walked in?
Yeah, well, what am I supposed to say to that? But my rant is about the fact that you put your hands under and you've got to go to a certain level before it kicks in. And then you get to that point and then you move your hands to shake them and it switches off. Well, fudge me. How do you think I felt when two big airy truckers walked in and I'm standing there with my hand down my pants, shoving my shorts up towards the dryer, hoping that this stain's going to dry before I walk out
Was there no
into where.
towel? No thing you pull down?
No, no.
They're
And
usually
then
filthy, aren't they?
those are rotating. And seriously, I'm not the tallest bloke in the world. So to try and get up to rub that, but I'm not walking back into the restaurant or wherever I am looking like a so.
I'll edit that
And
out.
it happened again to me today. No, nobody walked in this time, but I'm there. I'm traveling for work. I stopped for a week and I do the thing, wash my hands, and I thought, this is whatever subject we're talking about tonight, I've got to bring this up because there's got to be people that are out on the road or traveling for a living that have this same problem. What is it? Why can't they get that sensor to be in the exact place where you put your hands? The Dyson ones where you dip your hand in, everybody likes a bit of dipping, but when you dip your hand in, it's not a problem. It's the ones that are floating on the wall. Anyway, that's the whole point of this show. Let's just have a rant. Talk to me about.
I'll come clean here because I've had a similar experience some years ago. As you know, I do. Well, I used to do a lot more public speaking in public. I used to do a lot more public speaking in person, is what I meant to say. And I was in London once, and I was in my suit, and I had a similar experience where I turned the tap on, and I didn't realize I thought somebody had sabotaged it, and it came out like a fire hose, and
Yeah,
literally like I
same
was
problem.
smothered, and it was the old school ones like that. So
Yeah,
like you
yeah,
say, you've got to, obviously I'm a big guy, you've got to maneuver yourself like you're some dancer. And fortunately, nobody walked in. But we had like a couple of minutes, and I just sort of talk about body language. I must have looked really insecure because I was so conscious that all my shirt was wet, like you've had a problem.
yeah,
Anybody else out there had a similar thing? Let us know. Stick it in the comments. And while you're
yeah.
at it, like, share, and subscribe, and tell your friends about it, because we're going to have special guests on different episodes as well. This is all about building a community, so we want you guys to be part of it. Men, women, no matter what age you are. Yes, we're two guys talking, and we say we're middle aged, moaning about modern life, but we want to create a community and a family of people that we can all kind of share our experiences. And having said that, we've had a couple of messages through from some of our subscribers. Here's Louise, who's talking about a particular bugbear of hers.
Good morning, folks. So ironically, I'm sat at the place where I got my ticket. Well, it wasn't even a ticket, it was actually a clamp. So they put these new rulings in because I always parked at this particular place. And I didn't know about this new ruling. Apparently it was, it'd only been in place for a few months, but I'd been quite ill with my B12 deficiency. So I was trying to get myself right. So I thought, right, I'll park, I'll have a little walk into town, and then I'll get the tram back. But no, you're not allowed to do that. If I'd done it the other way round, I wouldn't have got a ticket. So I came back to my car and there was a big clamp on it. Obviously, I was they got me by the balls. I had to pay to get my car, and I needed my car. So it cost me £150. What I can't work out is why is it if you get a ticket in town or anywhere else, it's 35. Well, it's £70, isn't it? And £35 if you pay it, within the time. Why does this company have the right to just charge £150, particularly with it being on what's meant to be council property? But I found out now that it's not, because they feed it out to private companies, because obviously the council's in a lot of debt. But £150 to get your car back, extortionate, really. Absolutely pathetic. Anyway, that's my rant over for the day. I just wanted to say to people, just be mindful when parking your car in places, because you could end up with a hefty fine nowadays, because it just seems like people just want to make money off you any way that they can. Anyway, have a good day, folks. Take care.
A big thanks to Louise for contributing and taking the time to send us a message. So here in the UK, parking issues are no longer dealt with by the police, by the cops. It's been decriminalised. So that's opened the floodgates for a lot of private companies to pretty much charge what they want and make up the rules as they go along. So Louise got this, what we'll call a clamp in the UK, or a boot, they call it in the States. So have you guys had any experiences where you've been booted or clamped or got a ridiculous parking fine? We'd love to hear about it. Again, big thanks to Louise.
Again, a road-related issue. Truck drivers, you're the worst people in the world. And if you want to comment,
lost people, we just lost viewers.
If you want to comment below, comment, because we'll have a conversation about it. I'm driving on the A1.
That's a big road in England, by the way, for those that are not in England.
Yeah, for those of you that are not in England, it's quite a large road, but it's a large road. But most part, it's only 2 lanes. And you see a truck that's going at 59.4 miles an hour, and one's doing 59.5, and he decides to move out and try and overtake. So for 10 miles, there's a queue back, and everybody's doing 47 miles an hour, while this truck driver, you're the worst people in the world, try and get past him. Yeah. And he's never going to do it, but he persists. So we're all sitting back. I've got a meeting. I've got appointments made. I've got times that I've got to be there. Why? In the comments, please. Why do you do that? Anyway, how's your week been with the seagulls and the tourists?
So I live in the southwest. For people I'm not familiar with the UK, Cornwall is the furthest possible point. So if you look at the map of the UK, it's literally southwest of England, the furthest point. I'm 10 minutes from I'm literally 2 minutes from the ocean here, but I'm sort of 10 miles from Land's End. So, you can't really get to America without getting your feet wet. So, we have a lot of issues with sequels, but my particular thing, which happened actually about 2 days ago, was insurance companies. I get a call out of the blue, been with the insurance company for quite a while. The underwriters will obviously assess everything. They've looked at your occupation and there's a discrepancy. So I'm like, right. So I am, although I'm, retired police officer, I am really psychologist. That's my background. That's my training. Now, what's frustrated with this week is they've not got a drop-down box, right? So what they've done in their infinite wisdom is they've Googled me, okay? I mean, it's going to sound slightly arrogant, but they've Googled me, seen that I work on telly, and they've given me the highest premium. So my premium that I pay every month for my car insurance has basically tripled. So it's in like £300 a month. And, I'm in my 50s. I don't drive a particularly flash car. And it's taken me really like 10 hours being on the phone to say to them, look, that's a small part of what I do. I 99.9% of the time work from home. I don't use the car for business. And talk about people like not thinking for themselves now, or AI. And this is a clear example of like AI and technology, which, I've got a particular hatred of, even though this is good for what we're doing. Because there's no drop-down box. So I think next year I'm just going to say like I'm a plumber, because it's a lot easier. Because they've had to go look through everything. I've still ended up paying more than I was paying. But I says, look, I've been open and honest with you. But just because they talk about one size fits all, or as I say, batteries not included, because I don't fit into one size fits all, you end up suffering. So had I not been back on the phone and had a bit of a moan and a rant, I'd have ended up paying 3 times the amount, just because somebody in their infinite wisdom has classed me as the highest risk. If you ever say to somebody, oh, I'm an actor, or, I'm in media or TV, that's it. They'll want your firstborn child. So that's one of the particular rants that I've had this week.
Well, the thing with that is, if you think, and the purpose of this show that we're doing, and maybe a podcast later on, is to talk about modern day life. Well, when you think back, most insurance companies were brokers on a high street.
Yeah.
And you went in and you spoke to somebody who'd probably known you for a long time. So they would go through, this is what we do. This is how I know you are. This is what I can do for you. And I've got a better deal because of X, Y, and Z. Now, there's none of that. It's all online to a computer algorithm that turns around. And the minute it sees media, what they should do is they should put into that media bracket that you're all pretentious little pretentiousness, and you get ferried around in taxis, and you get ferried around by chauffeurs. So you don't need insurance. So you should be on a lower premium. Do you know what I mean? It's that algorithm. We're so reliant, and as you say, quite rightly, technology allows us to do this. But it's that, well, we know, and we've spoke about this many times. You talk about, let's talk about something random, like the lost green shell turtle of wherever. And within 5 minutes, there was something on your Facebook about the lost green turtle of wherever, because everything's an algorithm.
Yeah.
And that's what, I don't know what the fudge word for beep me off. Have we got a beep, by the way? Because I've got a guest that wants to come on, and he says,
I'll find one. I'm sure I can find one.
You're going to have a friend of mine. He wants to come on and rant because he's very much like us. But he said, you'll need to get the beep machine ready. And that's what I'm thinking. I don't know if we're allowed to do that. But this is the thing. We need the P word. We need a substitute. We need an F word substitute, because...
Put it in the comments. Give us some suggestions.
Yeah. Let us know. If we can give you thumbs up or the circle, whatever word you want us to replicate, because I think sometimes not being able to spew vitriol takes away from the fact that we're just moaning about modern life.
Well, I had a 7-hour drive, because where I was going to was a 7-hour drive, which so it's a good journey, and I was looking forward to just start crashing out. Anyway, I didn't get there till like really late. It was like 11 o'clock. I checked in. And I thought there's quite a lot of like coaches, like buses, coaches in the car park, about 7 or 8 coaches. So anyway, I walked into the lobby and there's like a load of young kids, girls, like 15, 16, 17, dressed like cheerleaders, like dancing about. And I was like, this is a bit strange, a bit bizarre. So I checked in and didn't think anything of it. And then fell asleep. 1:30 in the morning, I can hear thump, thump, thump from like above my room. So there's no room, there's no phone in the hotel room. So I'm trying to get a signal, there's no signal. So I'm half asleep, right? I've got to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So I'm only going to get like 5 hours sleep. I've got to be on stage in front of 600 people. And it's just sounded like the circus had moved into town. So I had to, get dressed, go all the way back down to reception. And I was met with a person who was working nights, like, well, it said receptionist and happy to help. That's where the actual description ends, Gary. And they went, oh, we'll have a word. So I was like, oh, right, okay, thank you. They didn't install with much confidence. So anyway, went back to bed. 25 minutes later, thump, thump, thump. I said, what's going on? She says, oh, they've got a big competition, right, in town. They're staying here because we've got a lot of buses. They're competing in the morning. There's big competition. I said, well, with respect, like, I don't care. Like, they shouldn't be practicing that at 1:30 in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was booked in there for 2 nights. So anyway, I didn't get any sleep, and that was that. So I said, look, I want to be moved. So they moved me to the other branch of this particular hotel, which I won't mention. And I just couldn't believe it, because when I rocked up the following night, because I wanted to get some sleep to just make the 7-hour journey back, when I pulled in the car park, you probably guessed it, the same coaches, they had relocated to a closer hotel to the venue because they were competing again for the following day. So that's just, things like that. And I'm like, I couldn't believe her attitude is the point to the rant, really, that, you've got somebody, she says, well, they've got to practice. I said, it's not a church hall. It's not a practice room. It's not a dance studio. It's I said, when I booked in, you kind of said it, online. It says it's a hotel. Is it a hotel, or is it a disco?
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. Anybody else got any experiences like that? As Gary said, we've both got backgrounds in sort of well-being, empowerment, mental health. So again, we're very passionate about it. It's not just about men. When women can comment, and we would never exclude anybody of any age or any sort of gender. So, do you want to talk a little bit about your other work, Gary? And obviously, you're an author now with your book. So, maybe talk about how people can maybe access to your book, and if you're doing any other things.
Well, I said last time that I shouldn't really be here because things that stress you out, you need to let go, But I wanted to do this because things still do bother me, and I try and explain to people and tell people it's okay to have a bad thought as long as you don't identify with it. This another word we need for BS, because I can't say BS, but this BS about it's okay to be not okay, that's BS. Because it's not. Because if you're not okay, it's because you're identifying with something from your past. And to be okay about that means you're giving it legs, or you're giving it power, or you're giving it authenticity. And that's not the case. So I help people with mindfulness. And as I say, I shouldn't really be here because none of these things that have happened that we've talked about really stress me out long term. It's when people start to get stressed out long term and continue that story. They identify with that story. Somebody will have a situation where they go for a wee, they splash the shorts, and they spend all day long trying to dry it out. 2 truckers walk in, and 5 hours later they go home and they tell the partner, oh, guess what happened to me today? Because we hang on to it.
Yeah.
The point about me being here is to highlight the things that stress people out in modern day life, that we can join in together. We can have a laugh and a joke. We can listen to the fact,
isn't it?
yeah, we can listen to the fact that I'm you're trying to get yourself up to dry your shirt. I've got one leg on the wash basin bit with my hand down my pants, looking for all the world like there's a growth in my shorts, just trying to dry it because it's comical, but it's kind of also working towards how modern day life is trying to get us into a little state where yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full. Do you know what I mean? The government tell us this, so that's what we do. The world power or the world authority tell us this is how it's going to be, so we go, yeah, okay. When really we should be fighting against that for our individuality. And there's my partner recently bought me some tickets for Jim Jeffries, right? An Australian comedian. I've always liked him. He calls himself the Rosa Parks of the C word, right? He's famous for the C word, but he is absolutely funny. And I looked at a trailer, and part of the trailer was, he said, happy wife, happy life. I get that. Then he said, there's no alternative to that, which made me, what's he talking about? And he said, my wife's got a saying, happy husband, we'll see about that. And it made me laugh. But it's like the women in the audience were laughing, so they can relate to that.
Yeah.
But nobody tries to do anything to make sure it's different. So I want to be, this is a platform for people to come on and rant, explain some of the problems that they've got with modern day life. And we'll talk about that. We have a bit of banter. We've always played off each other and had a laugh at a joke. And we can do that on a Friday at Costa, but now you've moved away. Selfish, but I'll let that go. And we can talk about that. And every time I ring you, we have a rant about something. So I think this is a platform to put forward what we are feeling about how modern life is different to how it used to be, and how it could be different. We're not going to get into Brexit or politics and all that kind of
exactly,
stuff. Unless viewers want to. But it's about what affects us. And I think ultimately for me, as a mindfulness coach, it's about how we overcome that and deal with it. That's why I see this forum as. Send us your problems and we'll laugh and joke with you, but there's a serious side to how we can overcome that mental issue that's created.
Absolutely. Well, we're on basically TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. We'll have a Facebook page, but I think, to be honest with you, predominantly it's TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. We will be doing some TikTok lives and sort of live sessions, so you guys can interact with us in real time. So we're actually not just like AI. Don't get me started on that. And if you can like and subscribe and follow us and just spread the word, and ultimately at some point, once we get momentum, we're going to be having some merchandise as well, which is quite exciting. I've been sort of we won't spill the beans too much.
Oh, I can hold a mug up that says
your cup went invisible. Then
don't get me started.
Don't get me started. Yeah, that's the catchphrase. So we're going to have some merchandise. So it's all about it's all about having a laugh, sharing experiences, interacting with us, especially on the lives, and being part of our community and part of the Two Guys Talking tribe.
Yeah.
We're coming back to the end of it now, Gary. So I think we've had a bit of a good rant. If you guys have got any comments or anything like that, please do interact with us. Put your stuff in the comments. If there's something that you're not brave enough to come on, I mean, if you want to come on as a guest, let us know. Didn't care what you do for a living, who you are, what age you are, what gender you are. Everyone's welcome. All we want to do is just ask for your support in terms of subscribing, liking, and sharing, so we can get some momentum going. So yeah, hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Anything you want to say before we sign off, Gary?
Yeah, let's talk about how modern life is messing us up, and we can deal with it and sort it and talk about it. Let's just let that SH1T go. Just so we can.
Basically, before, for those of you that are probably less than 40, that have known life without the internet, without the way things are now. I mean, we're going to be covering lots of different topics. Life is complicated. You can't just walk into a bank anymore. Like you said, people knew you, like you'd walk into a bank, get a loan in 5 minutes because they knew you. Whereas now your life's dictated by AI, by a black box with flashing lights. Computer says no.
Yeah,
and that's what,
yeah.
If you're a little bit older, that's the frustration that we find. But yeah, I'm sure we're going to have some great times with our community. So I sure.
And I think we should take this on the road. We'll go out and about, because the reason I say that, in 6 weeks I'm in California, hobnobbing with the rich and famous. So we should still do this, and film stuff that's out there. And you've done it before. Walk down the streets in LA and stop people with a microphone and ask them what's happening. So,
well, you're right. When you out? October,
September 20th.
September. I'm in LA in February. So we will probably, once we get some momentum and get some subscribers, we'll certainly in the UK. I'm quite sure that we'll be going out and about and doing some stuff in the street and getting people involved.
Yeah, and before we go, I need to leave now because the bailiffs are going to come and kick me out of this house that I'm living in.
I told you the rant was too much.
Yeah, all right.
Right, guys, have a great week. Take care.
See you later. Take care.
Don't let things get you down. Two Guys Talking. See you soon.